Here. So today we are on day one of Azure Solutions Architect Expert Level certification related course discussion, and we will have this agenda covered today. So we will focus on Azure governance. That is where we get to set up the proper policies, landing zone, and we will make best use of the logical and the physical hierarchy that Microsoft Azure provides us. At the end, we will also have a detailed session on how we can perform the well-architected framework review for our customer. So this is for today's agenda. And before we get into the first module, which is design governance module, we will need to have some understanding what we as a solutions architects, we need to develop as a skill. See, since we are going to be customer facing, it's not just the technology skills that will be enough, right? So we need to have leadership skills. We need to have a good written communication skill. Of course, we need to adapt with the different case requirements. For example, you might work with some government related projects, and sometimes you might work with some commercial customer related projects. At times, like they might have, they come from different industry vertical, right? Where they might coming from maybe manufacturing, or they might come from healthcare, or they might come from some financial institution. So it all depends. So we have to adopt our design and the way that we think for customers from the customer centric view, not from the same. We cannot have one solution fitting all the customer needs, right? So we have to adapt ourselves with the different customer needs. And of course, analytical thinking and interpersonal skills are very, very essential. And of course, even though we are not into the troubleshooting of the production environment or the operations, we are not part of the direct operations delivery. We are also governing the overall solution or overall implemented environment. So the design that we are creating is a living document, right? So there are chances that there will be a newer version of the product that we have implemented will be released in the next month or the next week. So the design has to evolve over the period. So the design documents are a living document where we have to continuously update them with the new technology or with the new services that is coming in. And that's where the technical direction, the people who are on the operations delivery will be looking forward from us, and we are completely responsible for the architecture standards, best practices, principle across the implemented environment. So we should be evaluating, analyzing what we have implemented, and we have to keep up to the market growth, or the things will evolve, technology will evolve, right? It will evolve around a lot of different products and services. So we need to be on top of it. We have to stay tuned with what are the new changes coming our way, and we have to get that implemented for our customers. So on the hard skills, like of course, organizations are looking for a DevOps framework to be implemented, so that way they don't want to have a separate development set of team and operations as a separate team. They want to have one single team managing the end-to-end software development lifecycle and operations, and they want it to be in an agile way. Earlier, we used to use a lot of ITSM toolsets like Remedy or ServiceNow, but people are now using toolsets like Jira to track the way that they are delivering a product or delivering an application for the customers, right, through agile ways. And enterprise architecture, we are not completely involved into the solutioning of the enterprise. The enterprise can be a complete government organization, or it can be a commercial business where there will be a lot of layers. See, when you talk about enterprise architecture, there are four major layers, right? So business layer, data layer, application layer, and technology layer. So this solutions architect is more on the technology layer, even though it interfaces with the other areas like the application, the business, and of course security is across all the layers. And the business strategy is also very, very important. So organizations will have an enterprise architect, that is a kind of higher level role, who will be overseeing all the solutioning happening at different layers. Like for a data center, they might have a separate solutions architect, and for Azure cloud, they might have a cloud architect, which is where we will be more focusing on to start with. But eventually, over the period, we might also become an enterprise IT architect who will be responsible across the landscape. See, the enterprise architect is not just responsible for the IT landscape alone. So they are also looking at the complete surveillance on your data centers, or how the environmental impact from your organization is happening. So they look at real estate assets and a lot of different things, not just limited to IT. See, IT is a kind of a component within the enterprise. So enterprise architect, their role is more, it has to be a right balance between the customer, the organization strategy. So they will look into the organization's vision, mission, and then they will align the technology implementations aligned to what organization has as a strategy, vision, and mission. Right. So enterprise architecture will provide us the guidance that the solutions architect has to follow as a best practice or the standard and principles. And this is where our responsibilities will be more into. So as I told you, so enterprise architecture has got four major pillars where the business, the organization will have their own strategy, they will have their own goal setup, and they will list down the list of mission that they want to accomplish, and they will also have a vision. So we need to have a good understanding of what business is trying to achieve. So we should not be just focusing on the infrastructure and the data, right? So we have to have strong understanding on how the applications are currently being utilized, what kind of qualities that, what kind of usage that the application is bringing in, how critical is that application for the customer, and we need to plan our solutioning across all the four domains. See, security is across all the four, so that's the reason it is not separately listed as item, but security is again a separate layer when it comes to architecture solutioning. So we need to have a strong understanding across four domains. But in reality, the enterprise architect will take care of all the layers, but we will be focusing more around the infrastructure, software, and information. That is where the solution architect's roles and responsibilities will be focusing more. But then the enterprise architect will also have a say in all the areas. They will also be guiding the different solutions architect. And you as a solutions architect, you will work with many different operations delivery team. So it might be data engineer or DevOps engineer or site reliability engineers or security engineer, administrator, developer. So as a solutions architect, you might not be doing hands-on stuff, but you will be supported by a set of engineers and team who might be doing the ground level development and operations delivery for you. And you as a solutions architect, you have to work closely with the business, the stakeholders. It can be a business owner, or it can be an application owner, or it can be the end customer who is translating their current requirements, and you need to understand whether the technology that you have implemented is fit for their business requirements. So that's your primary area of focus, and you have to ensure that you have aligned your implementation that is aligned to the well-architected framework and cloud adoption framework from Microsoft. And they have got it for specifically for Azure. And as a solutions architect, you need to understand, analyze what is the need from the customer side. We need to be very much, we need to have a very good understanding of the customer strategy. And of course, their vision and mission is something you need to be thorough about. And you have to start gathering the information, the requirement into a standard template. Different organization might have different way of requirements gathering, and you need to have regular workshops with the business owner, the stakeholders, and the application owner, so that you get to understand what are the different challenges that they have, what are the areas of improvement that they are looking at. See, only when you talk to them, only when you have regular conversations with them, you get to understand what as the business they are having as a challenge. And you as a solution architect, you need to translate that into the technology perspective, and you need to provide the technology solution by choosing the right tools and the right set of people to support that particular need. And you need to tell them like what kind of roles and responsibilities that a particular team will play. So it's not just the tool, right? The people also is very, very important. The skills is very essential, and you need to tell them like what kind of skills are needed for managing this environment. You as a solution architect, you are the one responsible for coming down with those set of responsibilities. And of course, we need to provide the solution document. There might be two level of documents like high level design and low level design. And at times we might also have to create an implementation guide if the deployment is something which is very custom developed. We have to give them with some good understanding on the implementation guide, and we need to provide the architecture diagram for each and every area that we are developing with. And of course, we need to follow certain frameworks. So there are a lot of different frameworks like TOGAF is there, Archimate is there. And if you're working for government organization, they also have their own Department of Defense Enterprise Architecture and Federal Enterprise Architecture frameworks are there. You can adopt the best practices standards, the templates that they provide, and you can capture the information in such a way that it is aligned to the business requirement. Maybe you might already be working for a particular customer where they might already have a template for how you need to capture the requirements, the design, and the implementation. Very well, you can follow that, or you can go and adopt one of the framework that is more appropriate for your industry vertical and the customer. So you as a solution architect, you need to develop both the stakeholder management soft skills as well as the technology skills. So there are many different areas. As I said, you also need to take care of financial management. So cost optimization is one of the core area in the cloud. So cost will tend to quickly increase if you go and deploy certain products and services. You need to keep a watch on the cost governance on the cloud platform. See, on the on-premises, so there is a separate finance team, there is a separate approval process for the on-premises capex model. Here, cloud is an operational expenditure model where you as a solution architect, you need to find out ways where you can optimize the cost. You need to right size, you need to help the operations delivery team to go and identify where exactly they can reduce the cost. Over the years, like Microsoft has got given a lot of different purchasing options, like they have given you reservations, they have given you savings plan, and there are a lot of options through which you can reduce the cost. See, initially you might not know that this particular application is going to run for a longer duration. So if you know it, like upfront, you can tell them that there are a lot of different purchasing options through which you can optimize the cost. And of course, today we are going to have a detailed discussion on the governance. You will get to understand more. And when it comes to virtualization, there are a lot of new enhancements that Microsoft is coming up. Especially, they have released Windows Server 2025 in November 2024, right, where it has come up with a lot of new enhancements on the Hyper-V. And of course, those capabilities, those benefits will be reflected on Microsoft Azure Data Center, because underlying virtualization technology is Microsoft Hyper-V and System Center Virtual Machine Manager. There has been a lot of new features and functionalities that has been released along with Windows Server 2025 operating system. So definitely they will roll out those newer version of Hyper-V on the Microsoft Azure Data Center, and over the period you will also get those benefits and capabilities on the Azure environment. Of course, we need to have good understanding of how Azure Resource Manager works, and operating system knowledge is definitely needed. On the cloud, many applications are running on Linux platform, even though it is Microsoft public cloud offering. You could see a lot of Linux operating systems now running on Microsoft Azure platform, unlike 10 years back. So now a lot of customers have migrated Linux workload. Of course, Windows workloads are considerably in good quantity, like maybe 50-50 in Microsoft Azure. Whereas if you compare Amazon and other cloud providers, the Linux operating systems are more in the other platform, because you here in Microsoft Azure, you get a lot of cost benefits, you get hybrid cloud implementation benefits when you are using Microsoft licenses on Azure platform. And there is a lot of cost reduction that you can get here, and you can also bring your own licenses. If you have any unused licenses on your premises, on your data center, you can bring them here and you can leverage, or you can reduce a lot of cost here, and cost benefits are there. So these are the different skills that you might need to have, and collaboration with the customer stakeholder is very, very vital, and guiding your team. It can be DevOps engineers or it can be security engineers. So you as a solutions architect, you need to help them understand what exactly is the implementation that we have done and how they can bring in overall effectiveness the architecture that you have implemented. So regularly you have to think about improvising the processes, right? So process is something is very essential. So people and the products has to have a very good interlinking on the existing process. So people, process, and the product, right? They are pretty much interlinked, and that's how you can ensure high quality deliveries provided. So as a solutions architect, so these are the different responsibilities that you have. And any questions before we move on to module one? I know like many of you are very seasoned and you have got a lot of experience on IT.